Junior Cycle History students, let's do 10 keywords that relate to the Renaissance. A fresco is a painting done on damp or wet plaster. It was a very popular painting technique during the Renaissance. Michelangelo's ceiling of the Sistine Chapel is an example of a fresco. Anatomy refers to the study of the human body. During the Renaissance, painters and sculptors, they were incredibly interested in studying anatomy. They used to illegally cut up or dissect dead bodies to figure out how the body kind of worked so that they could create more realistic depictions of the human form. The Mona Lisa was a painting done by Leonardo da Vinci. It is currently in the Louvre in Paris. It is one of the most famous paintings in the world. The David is a sculpture that was completed by Michelangelo. It is in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, and it is one of the most famous sculptures in the world. Perspective is the idea that the closer you are to something, the bigger it's going to appear, and the further away something is, the smaller it's going to be. And Renaissance painters use perspective in their paintings to make their pictures look more realistic, okay? So let's try and think about it. If I stand next to a tree, the tree is going to look really big. But if I'm looking out my window at trees in the distance, the trees are going to appear really small. I know that in reality, the trees are not really small, they're just far away. So what Renaissance painters started to do is they would depict kind of like, we'll say, trees or scenery in the background, and they'd, make it look kind of small. So it like draws you into the picture. It makes the picture seem more realistic. If everybody is on kind of the same level, everybody is the same size, it's not going to look very realistic. So you think if you have like little brothers or sisters or nieces and nephews, and maybe they're drawing pictures and they're drawing the family, and the family is the same size as the house, you know that's not very realistic, because you know like the people are not the same size as the house, okay? They haven't figured out perspective yet. Sfumato is a painting technique that was made popular by Leonardo da Vinci, and it refers to like a smokiness or a blurring kind of towards the edges of the pictures, and an example can be found in the Mona Lisa. Secular means non-religious. So in the Renaissance, painters, sculptors, they start making works of art that are secular, so non-religious. Now they still made like religious works of art as well, but you start to see a rise in secular works of art. A dome is an architectural feature that made a resurgence during the Renaissance. Florence Cathedral has a really good example of a dome, and St. Peter's Basilica, the dome of St. Peter's Basilica was designed by Michelangelo, but he never actually lived long enough to kind of see it be built. St. Peter's Basilica is an excellent example of Renaissance architecture. It displays many important features of Renaissance architecture, like I mentioned the dome in the last little clip. And then Galileo. Galileo is probably the most famous Renaissance scientist. He contributed an astronomical amount to our knowledge and understanding of science, such as scientific method. So the idea that your conclusions need to be based on kind of fact and evidence. You can't just like guess stuff and say stuff. You need to be able to prove it. He also built an improved telescope, which he used to view 4 of Jupiter's moons, and he proved Copernicus's theory that the sun is the center of the universe and the planets revolve around it.